Modi, the local bodies election, the Vidhan Sabha elections, and that is reflected in, but now I don't think he has got that kind of charisma. It is reflected in the vote, the data, because you're talking about data between 2014 to 2019. In all assembly elections put together, BJP's underperformance was close to 3 percentage point, meaning whatever they got in the Lok Sabha, in Vidhan Sabha they got 3 percentage point lower. But between 2014 to 19, their underperformance is now high single digit. In many states, the BJP vote share in Lok Sabha versus Vidhan Sabha, their difference is 10-12 percentage point. That is showing that while people are still voting for Mr. Modi, they are not taking his word or his appeal to voters to vote for a political party or a leader as the gospel truth and as something which they want to follow blindly. So his brand and his capability to take vote is already coming down. Data, the beauty is you want to interpret it the way you want to interpret, you can always put it that way. But I see his popularity going down. He is no longer as formidable as he was in 2014. But yes, I still say he is still at the pole position. He still has the lead, primarily because there is no significant anger against him. There is a fatigue, but there is no anger. And more importantly, there is no challenger who is capturing the imagination of people by and large across Hindi heartland. Now,
one of the questions which everybody ponders over but nobody knows for sure is what happens when Prime Minister Modi hits the age of 75. He's often said that once you hit the age of 75, you should retire. However, if he does win his third term, he'd be midway through his third term, and there are conspiracy galore, theories galore in the BJP RSS circles of whether he'll give up what he's doing, head off to Kedarnath or some such place, or whether he'll stay on because he's been voted to power and continue till the end of his term at least. No one knows for sure, but I want to know what you think.
Well, Rahul, you knows it, I know it, the whole India knows it. He's going nowhere. If he wins, he continues to be the Prime Minister. No rules applies to him, not of this kind of rules. So this is like just a living room chatter. Sometimes people entertain themselves with this kind of fancy ideas. I do not see Mr. Modi leaving the chair so long he is voted by the people of India.
Okay.
Be it 75 or 80.
How do you see the issue of a post-Modi succession? There's a lot of chatter. You spoke about drawing room conversations, etc. How do you see that potentially play out?
Well, on succession, nobody can make a second guess. All of you, whole of India, all your pundits, surveyors, political analysts could not predict the succession in the states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. How do you expect any one of us to have an idea of who is going to succeed Mr. Modi? First of all, it's a little bit too premature. But one thing one can say for sure is the directionally which side it's going. If you look at, and for that you don't need to be a political analyst, just look at the BJP's leadership trajectory over last 20 years. It was Vajpayee and Mr. Advani. Vajpayee as a liberal face, Advani as a conservative face or hardliner. Then it became Mr. Advani and Mr. Modi. Now it is Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah. So you know directionally they are becoming a bit more closer to what they claim and they have their ideology is. So I see somebody, whoever replaces Mr. Modi would appear to the large section of society a much more hardliner Hindutvadi than what Mr. Modi is.
Interesting. You're saying
the direction is very clear in my mind. That is where we are going.
You're saying that it seems certain from your perspective that whoever comes is likely to be more hardline, more pro-Hindutva than Prime Minister Modi. That's your sense?
Not sense. I can say this with all conviction at my command. This is going to be the trajectory. I do not see BJP having anyone in the leadership position of the party who would appear to be more liberal than what Mr. Modi is.
Okay. Let's spend a moment talking about yourself. In the last few days that we've been discussing, setting up this interview, from the schedule that I've understood that you're following, you leave early in the morning just before this interview. You had a community meeting as well. You're traveling through the length of Bihar every single day, going up quite late till 10:30, 11 at night. Where do you think this is all going? Because when I speak to top politicians in some parties, especially the BJP, they say dhakke kha raha hai lekin kuch niklega nahi hai. How do you see this build up and to what end?
Well, I have committed myself a few years to be in Bihar and do what I think could be the remedy for a lot of problems we face in this state. And this state has not, we are at the poorest, the most deprived lot in the whole of India. And I don't think by forming a political party, fighting elections, winning or losing is going to change Bihar. Bihar has seen Congress government, we have seen Lalu, Nitish, we have also seen BJP. Even the 10 years of Mr. Modi in Delhi has not made a single difference as far as Bihar and the lives of people of Bihar is concerned. So I see the problem lies more on the side of the society. Unless society here understands and organizes themselves in a manner which are aligned to what they need in terms of governance, it's not going to change. And I'm trying to do the same thing. What BJP leaders say or what others are saying is none of my concern. If BJP leaders are so smart, they should have won Bihar. You know, in last 30 years, the fact is BJP is in Bihar, in last assembly election, their vote share was 19.6%. Just for your viewers and so-called top BJP leaders to understand, their vote share in Bihar in last assembly election was 19.6%. So who are they to claim about how much they know about Bihar? And in many states, wherever they have faced the strong challenge, they have crumbled like pack of cards. So, for all the boasting and what they claim that they know everything, they know everything when they are facing Congress, not against other parties. So what I'm doing here is what I have set out for myself. I want to spend 2-3 years of my life trying to understand and organize the society here in the manner which could change fundamentally the way Bihar is perceived and the way we are governed. If we are successful, I think we would be able to see better days for ourselves. If not, then we will see. If BJP has a better plan, then they should do it. They are sitting in center. They have got, or their alliance got 39 MPs from Bihar. They did absolutely nothing for Bihar. So at least they should be the last one to be speaking about Bihar and the politics of Bihar, and they should be the last one to be speaking for people of Bihar.
Because it's a big question. Can a smart strategist be a good Jan Neta? I think what you do will answer that question in some ways, because the theory in political circle is...
Listen, Rahul.
To strategize is easy, to do actual netagiri is much tougher.
Okay, so a lot of people, when I started what you are calling political strategist, a lot of people said the same thing, that it's one thing to sit in the office and do computer number crunching and completely another thing to help someone win elections. And people laughed. You were the one who laughed at me in Bengal when I said that BJP will not cross 100. And you said that I'll be trolled, my life will be made miserable. They ended up 77. So unless you do something, how do you know what it's going to be like? If 10 years back in 2011, if I would have told that there is a domain called political strategy or Chunav Prabandhan or whatever you want to call it, all of you would have laughed, and I'm sure many BJP leaders would have laughed. But 10 years, once that space has proven to be creating some value addition, then people are taking it seriously. So what I'm doing here, you can laugh, and I'm very happy about it that you are laughing. I'm not making any.
No, I'm not laughing at all.
I want to
one
do
second.
This, whether
anybody who works as hard.
No,
one second. Don't. You're now doing what a neta does. You're twisting what I said. I never said I'm mocking what you're doing. I in fact appreciate effort and hard work, and I think you're making a lot of that. My only question is towards the outcome, because one theory, and I'm sure you've heard this, is he's building this base, and ultimately Prashant Kishor wants to merge with the BJP. Is that true, sir? If I were to merge with the BJP, what is preventing me from today joining BJP? I am the one who have fought BJP. I have helped all the political parties to fight BJP. So, and as far as, let's stick to what Bihar could look like. I give you an example. When I walked 5 districts, this BJP, which is the forte of BJP, the strongest fort of BJP in Bihar is Champaran. There was a by-election, MLC by-election, and BJP was reduced to 400 votes, and a candidate supported by me, an independent Muslim guy, he has won with 4,000 votes.
So all these leaders, and in that region, in 5 districts where I walked and we put this independent candidate, I'm not trying to say that this result is the reflection of the broad sentiment in Bihar. But what I'm trying to tell that from those 5 districts, there are 5 BJP MPs. Put together, they could not help win 1 MLC. Their candidate got 450 votes. All they got was 450 votes. And an independent candidate supported by Jan Suraj won with 4,000 votes. So at least, you know, in India, no matter, I'm not saying that you are mocking, the BJP leaders or whoever are mocking or trying to make light of what we are doing, that they are well within their right to do that. But at least no one would say that I don't understand politics. Whether I'm able to make sense of it or not, that's a different story. But don't at least give me at least that much that I understand a little bit of politics more than most of these BJP leaders. Even their leaders would, in time of crisis, would like to hear what I'm trying to say. The Kailash Vijayvargiya, who was the General Secretary of BJP in Bengal, he thought that he is winning 200 seats. Mr. Amit Shah thought that he is winning 200 seats when they were reduced to 77. And in the same Bihar, I must remind you, it's not only Bengal. The same people in 2015 made the similar claims. And we won with the Mahagathbandhan with almost 190 seats. BJP was reduced to 55. So BJP is not all-knowing, all invincible. Yes, at times when they are fighting with Congress, because Congress is weak, Congress is not able to take them on, they pretend as if they know everything and they are invincible. Let them fight the election in Bihar. When we will form the party here in 1 year time, let them fight and defeat, and then we will talk.
You think you can win the next Bihar assembly elections?
People of Bihar will win, and BJP will find it very difficult to digest the result of 2025 assembly election in Bihar. BJP will find it very difficult to digest. Take my word and write it down. Talk to me once the assembly election happens in 2025.
We'll save this. It will be epic if you can do it.
You save it. You save it. It's not about epic. The people of Bihar are so frustrated. Every BJP MP, but for the name of Mr. Modi, but for the fact that there is no alternative, each 17 out of 17 MPs in Bihar, I can bet 10 or more of them will lose elections. It's just the Modi factor. It's just that people are not, at any cost, they don't want to vote back Lalu Yadav. They don't see any alternative at India level, and that's why they, at the end, under compulsion, they vote for BJP. BJP must not take that as a kind of support for them. I'm again repeating, BJP vote share in assembly in 2020 was 19.6%. So please ask the BJP leaders, they would not even know what is the vote share they got in assembly elections last time. And this is after ruling India 8 years. This is despite Modi, despite Amit Shah, despite Sangh, despite Hindutva, and despite Mr. Adityanath doing what he's doing in Uttar Pradesh. All that things put together, BJP got less than 20% vote in Bihar. So please, for God's sake, do not start propagating as if BJP is the force in Bihar, at least not in the state politics, in the context of state politics.
Are you open to the idea of working with the Congress again, or is there a chapter you've now closed?
Well, Congress is fighting elections this time under the leadership of Mr. Kharge and Rahul Gandhi, effectively Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and they have decided a path for themselves. After Lok Sabha, what happens, we don't know. Ideologically, I am more aligned to them than anybody else. That much I can tell you.
So you're leaving that window open. You're saying not till the Lok Sabha, that's too close, but post.
It's not about, I'm saying it is for Congress to decide. But it is not for me to decide. I am doing what I am doing. And ideologically, I am on the side which probably loosely would be represented by Congress.
Understood. You know, it's interesting you spoke about you unleashing this whole cottage industry of campaign managers, and you were the original rock star, Prashant. The one who, in very difficult odds, won Nitish Kumar Bihar 2015, helped Captain Amrinder Singh in 2017 and Mamata Banerjee in a very tricky and tough re-election, helped Jagan Reddy. So you built your status there. Now there is a second campaign manager who also seems to be earning some stardom around him, Sunil Khonagulu. And the interesting thing is, you guys go back a long way. Sunil and you were part of Chief Minister Modi's campaign in 2013-14 when he was aiming to be Prime Minister. So what do you think of your style versus Sunil? He helped the Congress win a famous victory in Telangana recently, before that in Karnataka. Are we seeing now two master strategists emerge, two masters of the craft?
No. First of all, I am not a master strategist or anything. I have quit the space. And a lot of people, including Sunil and others, they have all worked with me, and I have great respect for them. And even when I was working with them, I used to say, and I have no hesitation in repeating it on camera, that many of those guys are far better than what I was, and they will do much better than what I have done. I have been just a normal person. All this rock star and all these things is the media creation. Many of those guys, almost like 20,000 youngsters who have worked with me, they have now doing what they think is right for their life, and many of them would, of course, get the success. And because they are talented people, they work hard, and some of them will be very successful. So there is no, and I feel good about it. I'm not competing with anyone because I'm not there, and there is a reason why I would have quit that space. My desire was not to be the rock star political strategist. I did what I did. I have quit that space. I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and I wish all my colleagues, ex-colleagues who are doing in different formations, in most of elections you would see now both sides, the incumbent and challenger are both helped by my colleagues, ex-colleagues. So for that matter, I am going to be happy with success or loss any which way. But I have no hesitation in
Okay, we'll leave it there. What a fascinating conversation this has been. One of the top thinkers around Indian politics, sharing his insights. He very clearly is a partisan player. He's not even trying to deny it, but he's given you a glimpse of how he's thinking and what that could potentially mean. Prashant Kishor, this has been an absolutely riveting conversation. So much I learned and picked up about how you're thinking at this moment about the key political issues. For joining us on India Today's News Track, thank you very much. And I wish Jan Suraj all the very best. Because coming from the ground to make the effort that you have takes a lot of personal motivation. The jury is still out. You think you're winning Bihar 2025? The jury is still out. It's much easier to say that than to do it, but you are putting in the hard yards. And as is often,
I didn't say that. I didn't say that I'm winning. I'm saying people of Bihar are winning 2025, and all of you should be up for the surprise.
Okay, and you also said that there is
BJP.
a window which is open post the Lok Sabha elections of a possible rapprochement with the Congress, if the Congress wants it. Prashant's not denying it. So there's a lot to chew on and to bite on. For joining us from Darbhanga, thank you very much. Prashant Kishor, really appreciate your time and wish you all the best. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome. What implications does the semi-final verdict have for the big final of 2024? Will the India alliance be able to pose a meaningful challenge to the Modi Sarkar? Is Prime Minister Modi virtually guaranteed a record third re-election? And what should one expect from the BJP if the BJP and Prime Minister Modi were to come back to power for the third time? To talk about this and more, I'm delighted to be joined on India Today's News Track, live and exclusive from Darbhanga in Bihar, by one of India's foremost political thinkers. He made his reputation as an ace political strategist, currently traversing the length and breadth of Bihar as part of the Suraj Abhiyan. He was in a community meeting early this morning and has now taken out time from his Padyatra to join us. Prashant Kishor, thank you very much for speaking to us and welcome to the India Today Network.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for having me.
So, I want to start by asking you about some of the questions that have been in the minds of people who track Indian politics very closely. And I'll start from that one main question about the implications of the semi-final results on the verdict of 2024. Nothing is guaranteed, as we saw in the World Cup finals, but to the extent that one can predict an election, do you think the semi-final results make it almost inevitable that Prime Minister Modi and the BJP are likely to come to power in May 2024 again?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't like to call it a semi-final because if you call it a semi-final, that means last time when the elections happened in the same 5 states, if you remember, BJP lost 4 out of those 5 out of 5. So that means BJP would have lost out of the final before the Lok Sabha elections. I don't see it as a semi-final, but definitely when you go with the win, it gives you an added advantage. At least psychologically you have an advantage. To that extent BJP has an advantage. But to draw a conclusive argument that because BJP has won 3 states, they are going to win Lok Sabha is not true. They were ahead any which way, even before these state elections. For any independent observer, BJP was well ahead of I.N.D.I.A alliance, and that continues to be the case. But definitely these state elections would have added a bit more psychological, given a bit more psychological advantage to BJP. But I wouldn't draw a direct correlation between what has happened in these states versus what is going to happen in Lok Sabha elections.
What do you think
and
are
I'm
the
saying
main...
this both positively and negatively.
Sure. What do you
because,
think...
see, it is quite possible that in assembly elections where the vote percentage wise Congress and BJP are looking closer, it could very well be the case that BJP would have an added advantage and the vote share will go up. But it can go the other way around as well.
Sure. So we'll look at both probabilities in just a moment. The Congress in particular was quite caught off guard when the results finally came out. They were expecting, Prashant, a better performance, particularly in Chhattisgarh and in Madhya Pradesh. You do your own parallel polling, you have your people all across the country. What's your sense of why Kamal Nath and Bhupesh Baghel were caught off guard by the end results? Because they thought their vote bank is intact, they thought they had a good chance of winning. Some of the BJP's initial internal polls also were showing the Congress in the lead. So when you break down this verdict, where do you think the Congress lost the plot and why?
Well, I don't have first-hand experience, but just to make a small correction here, 4 or 5 months before the elections, I was talking to another media channel, and at that time I said on record that to my mind, whatever little understanding I have, BJP is ahead in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh is going to be a close fight. We shouldn't be surprised if BJP pull it off. The reason being, in Madhya Pradesh, I don't think Congress as a unit was ever in position to fight and win. They may think whatever they might have thought, but they were not in contention. In Rajasthan, it was always clear. Chhattisgarh, a lot of people thought, because incumbents, especially the strong incumbents with the strong faces, always gives you this illusion that this person is invincible. We have seen it in case of Telangana, BRS, probably the same was the case in Chhattisgarh. But you have to take note of a couple of things. In Chhattisgarh, Congress was not very strong. Last time they won because of especially this paddy issue on which they catch the imagination, and BJP was caught off guard. But Congress could not repeat the performance in Lok Sabha. If you look at the Lok Sabha election result, which happened after 2/3 majority of Congress in Chhattisgarh, they were literally wiped off. A lot of people said it's a Modi factor, but that might be the case. But reality is in Chhattisgarh, BJP has been quite strong. Secondly, I think Congress has been complacent in Chhattisgarh. They thought that it's just for them to be taking. Second, I'm not so sure about how much this caste-based reservation, Congress making that a central issue, would have hurt them. One need to study it carefully, because Congress's core support base probably would not have liked it as much as Congress think about the issue. So my sense is, for a regional party, when they talk about caste-based surveys, they and versus a national party making it a central ploy might have backfired them in Hindi heartland.
You're saying the Congress wasn't organizationally weak in Madhya Pradesh and therefore it was unlikely that they would win. The same can be said and more about Telangana, where the Congress was a shambles till a few months ago, and their campaign really kicked into life after the Karnataka verdict came out earlier in the year. So if organizational strength is the reason for the defeat of the Congress in Madhya Pradesh, then what explains their victory in Telangana, where their organizational strength was even weaker than what there was in Madhya Pradesh?
Because in Telangana, the vote is largely against VRS. So Congress, first of all, Congress again in Telangana was not in shambles. There was an illusion because in Hyderabad municipal election, Congress did very badly. If you look at the assembly results in Hyderabad city, they are wiped off even today. But Congress in Telangana has never been, even in last election, they were in the close contest. They won about 35 seats out of 117. It's just that after the victory with the political and financial muscle power, BRS, at that time it used to be called TRS, they took a lot of Congress, and that made Congress appear weaker than what actually they have been on the ground. Telangana Congress has never been that weak. One need to study it carefully. If you would have studied it, in rural Telangana, parts of Telangana, what used to be original Andhra, Congress was always strong in Telangana side, especially the combination there, the Reddis, the Muslims and Dalit is a very formidable combination that has traditionally voted for Congress in Telangana. This time there was an anti-incumbency against KCR government, and that helped Congress. And also they ran a good campaign that shows that if you put a good face on the ground, you put effort, there is always an opportunity for you.
Let's
compare that to Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
Hear me out. Compare that to Madhya Pradesh, where Congress went with the same old guard, the same tactics, nothing new, no new face, no new approach. You are trying to defeat BJP since last 20-25 years in Madhya Pradesh with the same faces, same narrative, same tactics. That's not going to work. Also, make no mistake, BJP, to my mind, BJP's organization, if I have to rate their organizational might in different states, I would rate Madhya Pradesh in top 2 or top 3 organizations across the country. BJP in Madhya Pradesh, their base is very, very sound, they're very strong, and that must be taken care into account before you talk about possibility of them winning, losing Madhya Pradesh. Last time in assembly election, BJP, Congress could pull it off closely primarily because of the 2 regions, Gwalior-Chambal region, where BJP lost out, and also in Ujjain region. This time BJP went ahead. If you remember, in Madhya Pradesh, they announced their tickets, especially in the weak seats, almost 3-4 months before, which has never been the case with BJP. Or usually they don't announce their candidates that early. So they took their lessons from the last time, which turned out to be a very close fight where Congress had an edge, and made the corrections. Compared to that, Congress continued with the same tactics, same faces, same narrative, and that's why they paid the price.
Okay, let's spend a moment, Prashant, on the India Alliance. The 4th meeting of the India Alliance happened in New Delhi this week. In the way that the India Alliance is shaping up, where do you see this end up in terms of their hope of having one candidate of the opposition versus one candidate of the BJP in at least 400 seats? Do you see it come together, or do you think this will be all talk, a lot of bluster, and very little to show meaningfully in the end?
Well, first of all, this one candidate against BJP is, to my mind, it's a theoretical idea. If you see, in almost about 300 odd seats, there is already one candidate against BJP. So what you can achieve is probably additional 100 seats where you can cut down on some parties' vote share by which is getting 10%, 15%, which could add to the advantage to those who are fighting with BJP, but I'm not so sure about it. So this whole idea that any alliance would ensure one candidate against BJP is largely a theoretical idea, because say in Bengal, in Uttar Pradesh, if suppose in Uttar Pradesh Congress fights alone and Sapa fights alone, Congress gets 4-5% vote. That even if you bring them both together, nobody knows for sure that that vote gets added. And even if it gets added, the margin of BJP victory in Uttar Pradesh is probably more than that. So I don't see, purely from the mathematical point of view, putting one candidate against BJP is a great idea, or it's something that can be the game changer. Practically, it's already happening in 300 seats, like in all Hindi heartland, most of the Hindi heartland, it is Congress which is taking on directly the BJP. So it's already 1-1. In West Bengal, it's TMC which is taking on BJP. It's already 1-1. In Uttar Pradesh, it is Sapa taking on BJP. Last time even BSP was in alliance. So it was already 1-1. So in Maharashtra, this India alliance is already in alliance together. It is going to be 1-1. So purely 1-1 is not going to be the game changer. As far as India alliance is concerned, I don't think this one effort on the part of opposition parties are going to be sufficient enough, at least not what we have seen till date, to defeat BJP. BJP is well ahead to my mind as of now, and if India alliance has to do well against BJP, they have to do dramatically something very different, something which probably we have not factored in right now. And also within India alliance, it is primarily the Congress which will be taking on BJP in more than 250 seats. They have to do very well in those 250 seats. If they get the strike rate of 30-40%, then only BJP can be defeated.
No, so what
unless
can be that
Congress's
game changer?
strike rate against India alliance, I am telling you, unless Congress's strike rate, forget about India alliance, the end of the day, unless Congress's strike rate vis-a-vis BJP goes above 30%, there is no chance for any alliance against BJP, because it's Congress which is taking on BJP in 250 odd seats. Last time Congress's strike against BJP vis-a-vis BJP is less than 5%. Please take note of this. Whatever MPs Congress has won last time, they have won in Kerala, there was no BJP. They won in Tamil Nadu, they were not fighting BJP. They won in Punjab, there was no BJP. So bulk of the existing Congress MPs have come where Congress was not fighting BJP. So unless game changer is if Congress is able to defeat BJP where they are taking on BJP head on.
No, so what could that be? Is a cricketing analogy, it almost seems as if it's Afghanistan versus Australia, and we usually know how that ends. If you were coach and strategist of the Afghanistan team at this moment, do you have a strategy or at least the outline of what you think could be a potential game changer idea which breathes some life into the moribund Congress?
No, Congress, the strategy, I don't know, I have nobody to suggest them a strategy. The biggest strategy they need to take on table is they have to first accept that they are moribund. The problem is Congress is never ready to accept that fact. Whenever I have dealt with them 2 years back, now I'm no longer dealing with them, but they simply, so long you continue to refuse and live in denial, you're not going to get better results. The problem is not that there is no better strategy to take on BJP. The problem is Congress doesn't want to accept that they are moribund and they need to do things differently. Exactly what I told you in Madhya Pradesh. BJP, despite all their might, they realized that they made mistake in Madhya Pradesh and they made the amends this time. Congress, despite the fact that they are moribund, they continue with the same strategy, same policy, same narrative, same chat, same approach. So obviously they are not going to get any advantage of it. So if I can give one piece of advice, I would say, please accept that your organization in the large part of Hindi heartland is all but dead. Unless you accept it, you cannot make corrections.
That is a very important point, that accept that there is a problem, because the problem is staring you in the face. It keeps coming back to bite you, and yet the Congress at this moment doesn't seem to want to accept that. One of the ideas that's been thrown up this week is the idea of making Mallikarjun Kharge, the current Congress president, the prime ministerial face of the India alliance. Mamata Banerjee and Arvind Kejriwal have both suggested this idea. Do you see there is some traction there in this attempt to try and stitch the Dalits, the Muslims and some other communities together, depending on which party is in alliance where, but basically by projecting Mallikarjun Kharge as the prime ministerial face to take on Prime Minister Modi?
Well, Rahul, I'm a believer that if you do something right or wrong, it would have some impact. Say when India Alliance called themselves India instead of calling themselves UPA, definitely there has been a chatter, there was a buzz, but they stopped there. Similarly, if they announce a face, whether it is Mr. Kharge or somebody else, definitely it will add some more jing to what they are trying to do. But the irony here is that Mr. Kharge's name was proposed by Ms. Mamata Banerjee and Kejriwal. His own party did not necessarily back the idea. Mr. Kharge is the president of Congress. So if it would have proposed by Mamata Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal and backed solidly by Congress, then it would have got merit to discuss. I do agree that if Mr. Kharge is made a prime ministerial face on the part of India Alliance, it would definitely add some, it would give some advantage to India Alliance because he is a tall leader, senior leader. How much, that I don't know, because he is from South India. And largely the battle with BJP is in North and the Hindi heartland. But definitely, rather than having no face, if you would have a face, it would have an advantage.
No, but can you try and quantify this? If you were strategizing this decision, what would be the vote share gain that you potentially attribute to the decision, if it's taken, of appointing Mallikarjun Kharge as the prime ministerial face of the India Alliance?
Well, any decision, if you appear to be tentative or unsure in taking that decision, it is not going to give you the result. What I am trying to tell you, that when they form the alliance, they have not been decisive. They are still struggling with the seats, narrative faces. When they are announcing the name, then there was only one moment then where they all appeared united, which was that was on renaming UPA to India, and that gave them the advantage. All over India, people are talking about the alliance being called India. But after that, they have been tentative on every strategic move, be it narrative, be it a common minimum program, be it seat sharing, be it the face. If Mr. Kharge or anybody else for that matter,
who do you think is best suited to be the prime ministerial face? Who do you think is best suited to be the PM?
Hear me out. No, I'm not here to do that. I am making a strategic comment here. Whoever you want to present as a face, it is important that you are decisive about that decision. In the case of Mr. Kharge, it again appears that some two important allies have made the suggestion, which is not necessarily backed fully by Congress. Mr. Kharge himself almost immediately backed out. So in that case, when the proposers of the name or the proposition are not sure, how do you expect the people to get galvanized with that idea?
One of the big themes of conversation post the results has been the supposed north-south divide. I interviewed the Home Minister Amit Shah, and he very strongly countered the idea of a north-south divide in this election. Do you, from your lens, see a north-south divide where the BJP isn't doing as well in the south? Or do you think this is just a very slippery slope that the opposition should not actually be going down?
See, one is the ethical and moral aspect to it, that one should not get into this north-south divide. But even if you look at hard data, it's not supportive of what people are saying. There is no north-south divide. If you look at data, BJP's performance has been lackluster in east and south of the India. Starting from Bihar, where out of 40 they have got only 17. In Bengal, out of 42 they have got only 18. In Orissa, in Telangana, in Andhra, in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala. This is the zone, roughly about 220 odd Lok Sabha seats, where BJP has been less than 50 seats. And this has not emerged today. This was the case in 2014. This has been the case in 2019 as well. And I do not see it dramatically changing in 2024. The problem is not these 220 seats. BJP, whatever they get in these 220 seats, they are working hard to increase their number in these 220. But at the same time, the remaining 300 odd seats, that is where the problem lies for opposition. In those 300 seats, BJP is having more than 90% seats. So unless you defeat BJP in West and North, you can talk as much as you want to talk, it's not going to work. If only today, Congress or their allies are able to defeat BJP in 100 odd seats in North and West, not in Kerala, not in Telangana. If they are able to defeat them in 100 odd seats, that is 30% of the north and west number of seats, then these 200 seats where BJP is not doing well will come into play. Right now, if somebody has won Andhra or somebody has won Tamil Nadu, in absence of 100 seats coming from north and west, that they become literally redundant. They are not the force that they could have been if somebody would have won in north and west. So if you want to defeat BJP, formula is simple. Put all your energy, effort in north and west, where you defeat them in at least 1/3 of the seats. Then this east and south will come into play. Otherwise, you can keep talking theoretically whatever you want to talk. It's not going to work.
The other big debate has been around delimitation. And the Home Minister in that interview that I was referring to said that they won't let delimitation impact the electoral strength of the southern states. So while the overall number of Lok Sabha seats will go up, they'll ensure that the interests of the southern states are maintained, which I presume will mean that the percentage of seats from each state will roughly stay the same, even as the overall strength of the Lok Sabha goes up. Do you see delimitation in the next term of the Modi Sarkar, if there is one, being a major hot button issue, or do you think a way can be found to deal with this?
No, I think it's a commonsensical thing to punish southern states because they have done well on population control would be unfair to those states. And also politically, if BJP wants to expand in east and south, I don't think they are politically naive to antagonize people there by changing the proportion of the seats. So my not informed, but my guess is that proportion of the seats coming from each state would be maintained. However, because of the rise in population, number of seats will go up. But I do not see the proportion of seats coming from each state changing dramatically. That would not be right thing to do. And I don't think any political formation, be it BJP or Congress, would be able to do that. Because if you do that, it will create a big north-south divide. Plus, it will also act as a kind of disincentive for those who have worked well, the states and the governments and the societies that have work on the population control and other developmental measures. It would appear as if they are being punished for doing right thing.
Let's spend some moment on the key political personalities. Rahul Gandhi is planning a east to west Bharat Jodo Yatra Part 2. Do you think his first Yatra bolstered his political fortunes to some extent? To what extent? Because you work with the man, you understand how his mind works. And now if he does this east to west Yatra, do you think he's being able to overcome the Pappu image, or do you think the brand is so damaged that it's very difficult to revive meaningfully, especially when the comparison is with somebody as formidable as Modi?
See, it has got nothing to do with how formidable Mr. Modi is. Globally, if you look in democracy, those who fight elections or those who are in public domain, there is a kind of life to any brand or any leader. If you are defeated once, twice, thrice, you cannot go on trying and hope that somebody, all of a sudden people will realize that, oh, you are the one who are going to change their fortunes. So to that extent, I do not see Rahul Gandhi being able to completely change and become the new messiah in the eyes of the people of this country. However, having said so, if he has made an effort like walking from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, definitely it would help him personally and otherwise, where people would have seen that at least he has made an effort. But